Now, listen, you guys. It seems like people are convinced that something went down between Arrogant and Nicki Minaj to the point where they had to unfollow each other. We're going to have a discussion about that. And we're also going to be talking about Saweetie and all these allegations that are being brought forward in as far as her doing witchcraft and, of course, laying down with allegedly married men. Shout out to Miranda for bringing that to my desk. And we're also going to be discussing about this entire situation with Bongo 2 and her claiming that she had to go to therapy, as well as Doechii's sudden disappearance in the Joe Budden podcast, trying to talk about that as well. We're also going to be talking about Advocate BBO being spotted in the dance club, okay? Heavily pregnant with men shaking their behinds. Hello, tea lovers, and welcome to the tea plug. I trust you guys are doing well, and I trust you are doing great. Personally, I am doing great, you guys. I am doing extremely amazing. And a quick apology for last week and, of course, the weekend. But my friend was getting married. That's why I, wasn't that consistent. It was a lot trying to put everything together and just trying to be there for her. And we were very happy. We had so much fun during the weekend. But anyway, let us dive straight into today's tea. So, first of all, let us talk about this entire arrogant hair situation. I mean, I've been seeing the headlines and the videos going viral. So, apparently, there are, certain people that do feel like, well, the two of them, arrogant hair, of course, and Nicki Minaj no longer see eye to eye. Now, let's all start by talking about the fact that arrogant hair is now working heavily, actually, with Ice Spice. It seems like each time Ice Spice pops out, she's stepping out, being styled by Tay. Now, she isn't the first female rapper that he has worked with. I mean, he has also worked with Jatavia. And I do feel like Nicki doesn't have a problem with him working with these people. I do know that people were trying to say just because Nicki fell out with Ice Spice, or rather, Ice Spice had smack to talk about Nicki Minaj, it means that Tay doesn't have to work with those girls. But honestly speaking, I don't think Nicki cares about that. That being said, over the weekend, or rather over the past week, there is a certain bub that spotted Tay, and some people are saying that, well, where he was sitting, there was also paprika spice, and that bub, seemingly walked up to Tay and was basically talking about, well, you better be ready for 2026. You better make sure that, my sis is good in as far as the hair is concerned. Now, first of all, let's address what people have been saying on the internet. People felt like sometimes barbs can be invasive. I mean, why would you have to walk up to someone's space where they're, hanging with their private friends, and then you have a camera with you, and you're talking about be ready for 2026. I mean, we get it. Probably they thought it was going to be funny, and I feel like Tay would have just laughed it off, and he would have thought that, well, it's not that deep if there was not a camera inside. But having to film that entire interaction, for me, I do feel like that was a little bit of an overstepping. Okay, that was a little bit of an overbound. But do I think that the guy's intention was to be out there embarrassing the hairstylist? I don't think so. I think the barb felt like, well, this was going to be a funny moment on the internet. Now, that being said, Tay's response, honestly, I mean, I feel like he just reacted like any other person would have reacted if you had noticed that somebody is coming up to you with a camera. Because what do you mean you're recording me for what? And I just feel like it's expected that it would probably not be ecstatic about the entire interaction. But anyway, that being said, that video started circulating on the internet to the point where the Shade Room ended up posting it. You know that the Shade Room is messy, you guys. They do not miss anything. They ended up posting that video, and I guess somebody was out there suggesting that Tay looked scared. And so Tay ended up responding and said, laugh my behind off, never scared, was more so confused as behind. I'm used to people coming up to me every day while I'm out, but not like this, walking up with the phone out. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this entire situation. Do you think that Tay was scared? And do you think that by him responding, on the Shade Room, he was being shady to Nicki Minaj, or do you think that he just felt some type of way about the particular person? Because in that response, I didn't see any part where he was being shady to Nicki Minaj. Really, I didn't. Because I mean, you can be I don't know, you can be Obama's fan for all I care, but if you come disrespecting me, I'm not going to just let it go just because you're somebody else's fan. So I don't think that by him responding to this, he was being messy, because even there, I think in the video, he said something to the effect of, oh, I'm ready, or yeah, I'm gonna, something like that. It wasn't even shady, okay? But that being said, people started investigating the follows. People went onto, by people I mean myself included, because when I saw the screenshot circulating, of course I had to go and prove it for myself. So people started checking who's following if Tay is following Nicki Minaj and if Nicki Minaj is following Tay, and surprisingly it seems like the two of them have unfollowed each other. Now the internet is losing its entire marbles over this, as people are making think pieces by basically saying that, well, it does seem like Tay is finally betraying Nicki Minaj for Ice Spice. Oh my God, why is he being such a snake and all of these things? But I mean, even when he had started heavily styling Ice Spice, I have seen him reposting some of his looks that he did on Nicki Minaj, even on Twitter, and reposting Nicki Minaj related content. So I do not know that, well, the unfollow, did that happen yesterday? I don't think that Nicki was on her Instagram yesterday and following Tay. If they unfollowed each other, maybe they did so way back. And I don't think that Nicki would be offended by him particularly doing Paprika Spice's hair. I mean, if they fell out, I refuse to believe that, well, it's probably because of him doing her hair. Now, do I think that Ice Spice is weird for, sorting after it seems people or these female rappers, when they come up, they seem to want the same team that Nicki has? Of course, that happens. I mean, Ice Spice is the same person who fell out with that hairstylist, and the hairstylist started releasing screenshots of her requesting, particularly a Nicki Minaj wig, Nicki Minaj this, the hair that Nicki Minaj, sending her pictures, so that she can recreate the Nicki Minaj hairstyles. And in that time, that's the time that she was being shady towards Nicki Minaj, not being even public with the apology after the disrespect and the text messages leaked. That was the time when she was feeling heavily like she was bigger than the program, okay? And so in that moment, it was weird that you would go to these hairstylists and tell them to mimic everything that Nikki does, meanwhile, seemingly throwing shade at her. And now you're going after her hairstylist, who, up to like at this point, I do feel like, aside, the whole hairstylist and client thing, they were kind of cool with Nicki Minaj. So do I think that probably Ice was on some weird ish trying to work with Tay or working with Tay? Absolutely. But is Tay obligated not to work with any other female rapper? Absolutely not. The problem only comes when the lines get blurred and you feel like you have to trash talk another person to appease or please another client. But if he stays away from that, I don't think Nicki would have a problem with that. And I don't think also that Nicki would stop him from working with any client. I mean, up to now, he still works with JT, and JT and Nicki Minaj clearly are not as cool as they used to be like. But I don't think that there was ever a problem with that. And on top of that, I think I bumped into a post by Tay where he said something to the effect of he is ready for 2026. Now, some people are taking it to mean that he was being shady to the person who had asked him if he's ready for 2026. Let me try and see if I'm gonna be able um to find that tweet, because people are insinuating that, well, that must mean that he is being shady. Okay, so on his Twitter, he said, I am ready for 2026, okay? And people took it to mean that he was being shady to the guy. And some people took it to mean that, well, he is saying he's still working with Nicki Minaj and he's ready for the 2026, album that the Bab was referring to. And also to note that, so even after he said that, he still went ahead and reposted about two or three looks that he had, done back in the day for Nicki Minaj. So I don't know, you guys. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think that this is a fallout, or do you think that maybe Nicki has unfollowed him to make the other people, the other girls, feel comfortable working, with him, just to make sure that those lines between professionalism and friendship do not get crossed? I wouldn't be surprised if they had this conversation behind the scenes. to say, listen, girl, I'm about to work with these girlies and they get weird, and you may not want to see them being posted on my profile. So maybe you have to unfollow me so that you don't get to see what I post about these girlies and stuff. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this entire debacle. Now, moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about, let us talk about Saweetie. Now, you know, I love Saweetie. I love that she minds her business. She's doing her thing. She's not out there trying to be who she's not. She's not out there claiming to pew pew people. She lives her truth. She loves money. She loves diamonds. She loves rich ninjas. And that's what she sings about. She loves being pretty. And that's what she sings about. And I respect that because she's not fronting as someone, that she isn't. She doesn't claim to be the best, lyricist out there. She's just in a lane doing her own thing. But allegations have been brought forward, about Saweetie and the lifestyle that she lives. There is a person who's claiming to be a friend. I say that in quotes because I don't think that any friend would ever act the way that this woman is acting. But anyway, that being said, the so-called friend or trick, because I mean that's exactly what it is giving. Okay, so because it seems to me like this is somebody who arranges pretty women for rich men. And what do you call that? A trick. And I feel like that's what exactly it is giving. So this person was so mad at Saweetie because they felt like Saweetie did not keep her end of the bargain. Apparently, she was supposed to organize a rich dude for Saweetie, and in exchange, she would get paid, I guess, by Saweetie, or maybe from both the man and the girl, Saweetie. So it seems like the money did not come through, and she got so mad that she came on the internet and started releasing private DMs, started threatening that she would come out here and ruin Saweetie's reputation and tell everybody what they have been up to. Apparently, they move from country to country, messing with rich men. Now, my only question is there is a certain billionaire. I don't remember if it was a Nigerian or a Ghanaian or some African billionaire that was spotted together with not just Sowiti, but also Portia Williams at some point. I'm not talking about Simon, okay? And, people started having a conversation about what's going on between, what business does Sowiti have being with this man or Portia. So now I'm thinking, do you connect all these girlies or these females with these men? Are you a trick? At least if you come forward and say with your chest that, I'm an extra and also a trick, I think it would help everyone. Because what are you talking about arranging girls for rich men? That is controlling. Okay, I'm doing that because of YouTube, of course, and their policies. Now, what do I think about Sowiti linking up with rich men? As long as the men are single, I don't think there's an issue. But if the men are married, you know how I feel about people messing with married men. I mean, the karma will always come, okay? Not just to the woman, to the men as well, okay? It may come in a different way. It may not come in way of relationships, but in a certain part of your life, trust me, you will always pay, okay? So if Sowiti is out there being with these men that are married, what are you doing, girl? You're too pretty to be doing all of that. Are you telling me that there are no rich millionaires and billionaires and multi-trillionaires? Are you telling me that there are none with how pretty you are? So apparently, Sowiti was now telling whoever the new man is to not pay this girl, and she also got mad about that. Now, another ridiculous accusation that came out about Sowiti that I find hard to believe is the witchcraft thing. It is the witchcraft thing. Now, this girl was also, telling Sowiti that, listen, I'm going to tell people about your witchcraft practices. And I was like, Sowiti does witchcraft? Girl, what are you doing? Witchcraft is only reserved for Bongo One. I mean, for Advovo BBL. She's the one who's an expert when it comes to that. Why are you ruining your spirit by doing these things? For what exactly? For men, over men, over what? Don't taint your sweet spirit like that, Sowiti. But another person, Miranda brought in a very interesting perspective in my DMs. She was like, I find the timing of this coming out weird because this is right about the time where Advocate BBL is clearly scared to call out Sowiti. herself because allegedly Saweetie's auntie has got ties, and it seems like Saweetie is not a name that even Advovo BBL can play around with. So Miranda was saying, what are the odds that this would just come out of nowhere, especially the witchcraft allegations, when we all know that the chief witch when it comes to female rap is none other than Advovo? So, she was suggesting that probably it is Advovo who is sending all these people to attack Soweto's image, to the public, because as she is right now, she has sort of somewhat of a clean image in as far as beefing with the other girlies is concerned. Of course, with the men, it's always been a conversation there. But anyway, let me know in the comment section, you guys, do you believe that Soweto is out there doing abracadabra? Okay, moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about Erica Banks, okay? Erica Banks, when everything was going on the internet between JT and Advocate BBL, Nicki Minaj and Advocate BBL, she tried to come with some bars, to get a little bit of attention, and I guess that didn't work. And this is the recent message that she decided to come up with. She said, I wish ciphers were still a thing today. I wanna get in the ring and rap, and instead of everybody being against each other, it would be fire if all the rap girlies did a joint cipher, just ripping ish. Don't matter who don't like who, real rap ish. Get in the field, what they have, okay? Now, Erica, at least you have to keep, the same energy throughout. You can't tell me today that you want to get in the booth to be, rapping against, other girlies, and then the next thing it's a cipher. I mean, you want to insert yourself in a beef, you want to diss everyone, and then the next day you want, to kumbaya. I can't keep up, Erica. Literally, I can't keep up. The same way that I really cannot keep up with the rounds of BBL that you've had. Okay, I just can't. To know that you're on the fourth, the fifth, or the sixth round, I do not know. And that's the same thing. I can't keep up with your opinions because they change every single day. But that being said, totally unrelated. I don't dislike you, Erica. I do feel like you actually probably rap better than Bongo 2. I mean, Megan the Horse, okay? That was totally unrelated, but I just had to put it out there so that you guys know that I'm not just hating on her, but I genuinely cannot keep up. Moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about these certifications. What is going on? What is this discourse on the internet where people are foolishly convincing themselves that Advovo BBL is the highest certified female rapper? Okay. Listen, it might be so because Nicki hasn't updated her plaques for a very long time. But for you to run with that narrative and try to make it seem like, well, Nicki doesn't have many certifications because, oh, well, she's just not selling as much as Advovo BBL is concerned is highly delusional. Delusional, delusional, delusional. And this is why I tell you, you cannot argue with Advovo BBL fans. They are bots that are out there fishing and hunting for narratives to, forge some form of comparison between Nicki Minaj and Advovo BBL. And when they lose, and Nikki and the Bubs laugh in their faces, guess what they're gonna do? Turn around and play the sympathy game. That's what they do. And this is why I'm just like, at this point, listen, it's either you're a bot, you're the GP, and you're the daft mother chuckers that just be following these bots online. I'm not arguing with you because if you genuinely believe that, well, Advovo BBL is selling more records than Nicki Minaj, I have got an island to sell you in Namibia. Okay? Moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about. Let us talk about. Let us talk about Advovo BBL, okay? There's a video that I saw circulating. I was way too busy during the weekend, but it was a video of her dancing around in a dance club. I mean, in a pole club, where she came from. I mean, she was in her place of origin. I mean, she originated from the pole. We all know that. That's her natural habitat. I'm not mad at that, okay? That's her comfort zone. That's what she knows. That's what she does best. It's so sad that they just were not bottles in there. But she was there surrounded by a lot of men who were unclad, dancing in their birthday suits. And she seemed to be having so much fun. The things that this girl does for attention, stomach popping like this, pregnant woman, Literally, what point was she trying to prove? That she also gets down with the men, getting down with the men. I don't know what she was trying to prove with that, because this comes after it has been circulating that allegedly the new man does have a certain liking for, you know, for men also, allegedly. And that man was coming through with those wild allegations and stuff like that. And shortly after, she decides to pop out here with men shaking their ding-a-ling-a-lings in some blue thongs and unclad. Just nasty. Just nasty. So I don't know if this is an activity that they enjoy doing together with the new baby daddy, and if this is supposed to shut us, up, I guess, to say I also enjoy seeing men dancing, and so does my man. Doing that whilst pregnant and trying to prove to the internet, that would be wild. Okay, I hope she was just genuinely having fun, not trying to prove a point. But if they like to get down like that, who am I to judge them? If she loves it, she likes it. We love it, actually. So that's my conclusion when it comes to that. Do I think that, well, it has any class for such a heavily pregnant woman to be out there having those people shake their behinds and their ding-a-ling-a-lings in front of that tummy, in front of that belly? I don't think it has any form of class. I feel like it's classless, and I do feel like if any other person, especially black women, were out there doing stuff like that, imagine if Nicki was in a strip club doing that. We wouldn't have heard the end of that. Imagine if Miss Red was in the strip club with these male people dancing. The backlash would have been insane. But I guess we know she has been put on a pedestal. She cannot be criticized for anything. The GP, which is full of bots and black women that are insecure, are out there applauding for this behavior and saying she's having so much fun. Yeah, that's the representation that this woman is giving you in your society. And wow, I love it if you like it. Okay, moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about Doechii and the Joe Budden podcast. Okay, it seems like the Joe Budden podcast is out there scared to discuss the disappearance of the alligator. They are all acting like the alligator is still out there thriving. I don't know if it's the bites they're scared of, the alligator bites, if it's the owner of the alligator. I mean, this one is definitely domesticated by TDE. So I don't know if it's Punch that they are scared of. Or I don't know if it's the massive handler, the man on the other hand, the one who does control the reins on both the horse and the alligator, which is, of course, the man who is very famous for wearing the lace front. I'm talking about Brother Billionaire, also known as the title swindler. I do not know who exactly Joe Biden is scared of, but when it comes to discussing the alligator, it has been quiet to the point where some of his podcast mates are out there bringing up the topic, saying, I know that you're scared to discuss about this, but let's talk about the disappearance of the alligator soon after it ate up a Grammy and disappeared. Like, what is going on? Where did the alligator go after getting the Grammy? Surely cannot fit in that small cup from the Grammys. So where has it been hiding? Well, it has been performing at festivals, and they are saying that, well, listen, I'm just being silly now. And I'm talking about Doechii, you guys. And they are saying that, well, she's preparing for her album and also preparing for her tour, the one that had gotten, some venues taken off because allegedly it wasn't selling as they had expected. So I will insert what the Joe Biden podcast had to say about that, but I'm not going to be coming back after that. Forgive me for just being overly silly in the last part. Really, I got carried away talking about alligators and stuff. I was talking about Doechii, you guys. But yeah, I will insert the Joe Biden podcast clip, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. It's midweek and we are back with a bang. Until my next one, see you.
It's about
fishy. Ain't nobody heard from Doechii.
yo. It's about what?
I knew you would say that.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. We can find another topic. Yeah, please. I was just asking y'all.
I don't know. I don't know what the context is.
I don't know either.
Just
What, the industry playing shit?
move right along.
Yeah, move
moving right along.
Okay.
I'm parked. They ain't tripping me up. They ain't
I don't know
getting
why
me.
you asked that question.
Because I thought it would be a little more obvious than it is, but I guess it's not yet. But it's kind of obvious.
So Dirk is in the news again.
Yeah, man.
What about Jeezy?